Hi everyone, this is a virtual book club post and I am really excited today to be talking about this book. It's called Toffee by Sarah Crossan, and this book is a little bit different because it's called like a novel in verse or a verse novel. That means when you look at the way that it's laid out on the page, it's basically like a lot of poems that make up a story. And so it's a really absorbing read because it is a story from beginning to end that unfolds, but in these very, very short doses. So like each poem is a different section of the story. So some of them are really, really short. So you feel like you're kind of journeying through, and the writer Sarah Crossan, she uses that form of poetry to make it really pack a punch. So it's really every word matters and it's really profound on every page. Now, okay, what's the story? Well, in this book, there's a girl who's run away from home and she's about 15, 16 years old, and her name's Alison. Her dad's not very nice to her, and she basically, his ex-girlfriend's gone, so she was on her own with her dad, really suffering, so she decided to run away. Now she's in search of her dad's ex-girlfriend, Kellyanne, who has always been really kind to her, and she goes down to Cornwall to try to find her. But when she gets there, she discovers Kellyanne is not there, so she's basically homeless. She's looking for somewhere to stay, and she comes across a shed in someone's garden, so she sort of hides out in the shed, and then she realises there's an old lady living on her own in the house whose name is Marla. Now what unfolds is a really touching and poignant story where the old lady Marla has dementia, and she sees Alison and starts talking to her, calling her Toffee. Oh Toffee, just come and help me with this, etc, etc. And so Alison becomes drawn into Marla's home and Marla's life. And obviously she's sleeping in the shed. She thinks, hang on a minute, if the old lady doesn't mind, I may as well sleep in the spare bedroom here. So Alison basically becomes Toffee. She becomes a companion for this old lady Marla and has to hide out of the way whenever Marla's actual family come to visit, or her sort of carer who drops in every day. So what unfolds is a really fascinating story where Alison is dealing with the things that happened with her father that she's thinking about and processing and wondering how to get in touch with Kellyanne, and how to sort of rebuild her life. And also with Marla, the friendship that she has with the old lady, which becomes a real friendship over time. Now, it's certainly a bit of an unconventional story, but I absolutely was enthralled, and I honestly sat down, I read it in one sitting. Now, it's not as wordy as maybe a novel because of the verse format. So, you know, some pages, as you can see, they've not got as many words on them as a novel would have, but nonetheless it was a completely absorbing read, and the story really pulled me in, and I love to hear about Alison's flashbacks to the past as the story of what had happened in her family unfolded, and I loved the realism of the voices, first of Alison's voice as she's telling us her story, and of the old lady Marla and the things that she says, the funny things that she does, and it's obviously really sad because she's suffering from dementia, but it's kind of nice because this girl can be a friend to her. There is the case to say that it's a little bit strange the way that this all comes about, and it does all get resolved really nicely at the end, and the character Alison doesn't really have to suffer any negative consequences for the fact that she's basically lived in an old lady's house, kind of not abusing her dementia, but basically she gets away with living in a stranger's house because the stranger doesn't really know who she is. So maybe some people might question the validity of that. However, take it for what it is. It's beautifully written. I would say this is probably a read for ages 15 and up because it is quite poignant. It's quite meaningful. It's not a pacey thriller. It's a real unfolding story of relationships, and I think maybe younger readers may not quite understand some of the dynamics there, but it is a really beautiful, well written story, and I thoroughly recommend it. In fact, I'm going to just give you a little sneak preview from the beginning because I just think it's so good. Okay, this is the opening of the book. Her name is Marla. Her name is Marla, and to her I am Toffee, though my parents named me Alison. Actually, it was Mum who made that decision. Dad didn't care about a bawling baby and her name the day I showed up. He had more important things on his mind. And now Marla sleeps in a bedroom next to mine with forget-me-nots climbing the papered walls, snoring, lying on her back, lips parted. Sometimes at night she wakes, wails and flails and begs the air to leave her alone, leave her alone. I scuttle in, stroke her arm with my fingertips. I'm here, it's okay. You're just having a bad dream. That usually settles her. She'll look up like I'm the very person she expected to see, shut her eyes and float away again. The mattress on my bed is so soft I sink. The cotton sheets are paper thin from too much washing. Nets, not curtains, cover my window. Streetlights blare in. This is not my home. This is not my room. This is not my bed. I am not who I say I am, and Marla isn't who she thinks she is. I am a girl trying to forget. Marla is a woman trying to remember. Sometimes I am sad. Sometimes she is angry. And yet, here, in this house, I am so much happier than I've ever been. This is an absolutely fantastic read. Please try it out.